Welcome to the OK Let's Learn podcast. This is two podcasts in one. One where we dive into tons of great stories and books, and one where we just dive into tons of different topics. My name is Kevin O'Keefe. So today, okay, let's learn, but wait. Before we learn about something new, I have an announcement. Very often at the end of the episodes, I will tell you it would be nice if you rate and review at your podcast platform of choice. Well, just have an announcement. We have a new podcast platform. It's iHeartRadio. Yes, we are already on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Pocket Cast, Listen Notes, Podchaser, Overcast, Castro, Castbox, Good Pods, and True Fans. You didn't know there was that many podcast platforms out there, did you? Well, I hope to have another exciting announcement in our next episode. But today, okay, let's learn all about Forsythias. I pronounced it correctly. I will tell you this up front. I will try not to say it too often. This shrub, this plant, this bush is in my yard. And I have for years, number one, forgotten what the name of the plant was. It's been with us 33 years, but I've stayed away primarily because, like I said, I can't pronounce it. Here we go. It is an episode here today all about this amazing bush, Forsythias. There you go. Listen, every year, sometime early in April, winter finally disappears. The sun's staying up a little bit longer, and all of a sudden, overnight, this miracle appears along fences, sidewalks, backyards. Here in Jersey, and throughout most of the United States is this burst of bright yellow, like someone painted sunshine across our yards. It's this amazing plant, Forsythias. And I will tell you this, if spring had a way to announce its arrival, this shrub is the one. Now let's start off with some basics. It's a deciduous flowering shrub. Deciduous means that it loses its leaves in the fall. But here's the unusual thing about this. And why am I doing an episode on this? Well, here we are. I know this is going to be an evergreen episode, but here we are. The approach of spring right now when I'm releasing this podcast episode. You see, the great thing about this plant, most plants bloom after they grow leaves. The flowers appear after they grow leaves. Nope. This plant does the opposite. First comes the flowers, hundreds, thousands of them bursting throughout bare branches like these little yellow fireworks are going off. Yes, and later the green leaves arrive. It's almost like, yep, here we are. Spring is here. I'm bursting out my flowers. But the fact is, they come and bloom before tulips, before most trees, and before our lawns are even green. I mean, they bloom before the landscapers do their spring cleanup in a lot of cases. And yes, they arrive right around my birthday. I'll just be selfish there. And yes, it's been a special little plant here my entire life because, yes, spring is arriving and it's right around my birthday. Now, this plant didn't start in North America. It originated in East Asia, particularly China, Korea, and Japan. The plant was named after William Forsyth. He was an 18th century Scottish botanist who helped run the royal gardens in England. So European plant collectors, they ended up bringing the shrub west in the 1800s, and it spread quickly because it was easy to grow and obviously beautiful and hardy. I mean, it's really sturdy. It can endure a lot of difficult conditions in terms of going through the winters. And, we had probably easy upwards of 3 feet this winter, and it's still in place, still looking good. Now, what does it look like? A lot of people don't like the look of it because you really need to shape it. You really need to trim it each year because it can just get out of control. But it does make a shape of like a fountain. If you can imagine a water fountain with its trunk, its branches moving up and then kind of curving out. That's basically the shape of your typical forsythia. It's got these long arching stems that, like I said, they bend outward like fireworks going off in the sky. Each flower has 4 petals, and another reason people love them, other than the fact that they bloom early and they're easy to grow, they grow fast. They grow 1 to 2 feet per year. And try this. If you literally cut a branch, stick it in the ground, sometimes it will develop roots on its own. It's really a shrub that really doesn't require a lot of maintenance. You trim it each year and it'll have some nice shape. But like I said early on, it can get out of control because the branches will just keep growing up and up and up. And how about this? This episode is just prior to March 17th, the perfect time right now. You want to make your spouse feel good. You want to make your friend feel good. Go out. If you've got this shrub in your yard, go outside, cut a few branches while the buds are still sleeping. Bring them inside, put them in water, and I tell you what, in a week or two, you could have some nice yellow flowers right there at your kitchen table. Now, the downside, like I said, it can be messy if you don't prune it. And the bloom time, when it's yellow, it's only like a week or 2 weeks. And if you have bad weather, they'll disappear completely. It's like they're there and they're gone already. But obviously, right after that, the flowers turn into the green leaves. And this is really important in terms of pruning them. The forsythias are formed. They form next year's flower buds during the summer. So if you're gonna prune them, you can't prune them and cut them in the fall or winter. Otherwise, forget about them turning yellow in the spring. You've got to prune them, cut them right after they bloom. So, right there in May, you know what? Keep them wild, keep them crazy looking right through the winter. And like I said, prune them right after they bloom. How big can they get? 6 to 10 feet tall and at least 12 feet wide. Mine has got to be 20 feet wide. I really, they've just been out of control, like I said, over 33 years now. Landscapers usually plant them along fences and property lines, hillsides, or in large garden beds because they can, like I said many times, get out of control. And yes, where's mine? Right along the property line with my neighbor. Now, a few fun facts to wrap up the podcast. The older forsythias, they're hollow. The branches are hollow in the middle. That makes them lighter and flexible, and they're like tubes inside. Interesting. The buds are built like tiny winter armor. Each spring flower begins as a bud formed the previous summer, like I mentioned. The bud sits there all winter wrapped in this tight protective scale. The scale is like I said, like this tiny winter coat, and it protects the flower inside from the freezing temperatures. Inside each bud is essentially a fully formed miniature flower, just waiting for the right temperature signal. The flowers produce very little nectar, so you're not going to see too many bees flying around. Also, it's very possible that the one you have in your yard is not a wild species. It was actually a hybrid. They crossed 2 species from Asia, and they did this and engineered this plant because, again, it bloomed really heavily and it was stronger and it tolerated better in the wintertime. So it's not pure. It's, like I said, it was actually made by humans. Now, how about this one? When some of the long branches bend down and touch the soil, they sometimes grow roots right where they land. And I've seen this when I haven't cut it back too often over a few years. It's like stuck in the ground. This is called layering, and it allows the plant to slowly spread outward naturally, almost like it's cloning itself. Now, the stems, a lot of the branches that are coming up, the young ones are bright green, but as they age, they turn like this woody, rough, grayish brown bark. And if you want to keep it healthy, get rid of some of those older stems, cut them, prune them back every few years. And the bark has a unique pattern. Older Forsythias stems develop these small raised dots. These allow the plant to exchange gases through the bark, almost like they're breathing pores. Trees such as cherries have them too, but Forsythias, they often are especially visible on some of the older branches. It's very interesting. If you take the time and look at them, it's very, very fascinating. Now, I mentioned this before, but the shape of the petals, there's 4 petals, and it looks like a little small trumpet or like a funnel shape. When the green leaves arrive, when I picked off a few branches just to take a look at them closely, you'll see that the leaves grow in clusters of 3. Not everyone, but many absolutely. And this is unusual because many common shrubs in yards, like lilacs, have simple single leaves. So the forsythia sometimes looks like it can't decide whether it wants 1 leaf or 3. But check it out. As I'm looking at this right now off this branch, they're all sprouting in 3s. And finally, their branches, they're really surprisingly tough. They're flexible, but they're strong. If you try to snap a young branch, it bends dramatically before it actually breaks. And this flexibility helps the shrub survive through the winter, heavy snows, strong winds, and even ice storms. So to wrap up our podcast, you may be thinking, what was this all about? This is just another shrub. Fine, it looks pretty in the spring, but guess what? It's not just that. The brilliance of the yellow says spring is here. You're finally feeling good after a long winter. And guess what? Those branches are hollow chambers. They have these winter armored buds and these flexible stems that bend but rarely break. All winter long, it waited quietly. And then here we are, one day, early in April, it explodes into gold and tells the world, spring is here. Hallelujah. Friends, thanks for staying with me on this journey, learning all about forsythias. Reach out to me at kevmok21@gmail.com. We have a Facebook group called OK Let's Learn. Until next time, have fun and keep learning.